With Gabrielle causing mass disruption for thousands, many are hoping that forward warnings from weather monitoring along with subsequent preparations will help them in the hours ahead. Last Friday afternoon, Auckland Emergency Management or AME announced sandbag stations where people could collect free sandbags in the west, the east and northern areas of Auckland ahead of Sunday's weather. An AME spokesperson blamed logistic issues for the delay in setting up a sandbag station in South Auckland. Tauanu'u, Nanai Bakulich, head of the Māngere-Ōtāhuhu local board, is with us now. Kia ora Tauanu'u, thank you for joining us.
Oh, kia ora Neil, and also to all the viewers today.
So what's the current situation there and what have things been like for you over the past 24 hours?
Well, look, last night we had a situation with one of our local creeks, Tararata, where the levels were rising and rising very quickly. There was a very big concern, and this was raised to us, and subsequently myself and another board member went out to that area and started door knocking, advising residents that of the situation, and if they needed to evacuate, that we had the Māngere-Ōtāhuhu facility that was available if people required shelter and a place to stay for the night, but to essentially keep an eye out of that particular situation around flooding.
Absolutely. Now, as people across North, West and East Auckland rushed to pick up sandbags last Friday to prepare for the cyclone, there were a few challenges in South Auckland preventing sandbags from being ready. What happened?
Well, when we received that notice from Auckland Emergency Management around the 3 locations that were available, we did note that South Auckland was missing. The night before the drops were to be made, myself as the chair and our local city councillor, Ao Tapatahi, made a number of phone calls as to why we didn't have a drop-off location for the south, in particular Mngere, because that was where a big number of families had been severely affected by flood.
Okay.
Glad to say that we did end up getting sand for 2 days in a row, and also bags are available for not just for our local community, but the surrounding areas, which will have included Onehunga and also Ao Tapatahi.
So what explanation were you given for why you weren't on the list?
All I can say is that it's an explanation that I wasn't entirely happy about, and again it required some very strong advocacy from the local board and from our local councillor. As a result of that, we received amounts of sand that was accessible and available to our local community, especially before the heavy rains arrived.
Okay.
In regards to an answer why we weren't originally on that list, as you've mentioned, that is something for Auckland Emergency Management to provide an answer for.
Now, as you pointed out, Mangere is an area that's prone to flooding. Locals experienced a lot of the flooding. So you are happy with the access to sandbags there then?
Absolutely. Whilst we did get a lot of sand, we could have done with a bit more, but we appreciate that assistance. But we're also very aware that there is other parts of Auckland who may have needed to access a resource that was limited. Okay. But I can say that I'm glad that we got on the list. Because there were some very nervous families around Tararata and also around Mangere Central that was hard to hit from the floods 2 weeks ago.
So how long did it take for you to get on the list and for people of South Auckland to receive sandbags?
Glad to say that it was just a matter of hours. Good. Where we started seeing truck and trailers turn up. We originally had a small number of bags that were assigned to us. That was not acceptable because that amount would not have gone very far. So the response, which I am pleased with, But again, the question is, why were we forgotten about in the first place?
And what other support did the area have in preparing for this severe weather event?
Well, luckily here in Mangere, we have a number of social services that have been activated, and they rallied very quick after the first event. And it only took 6 hours, essentially, for us to tap into our community networks, and the agencies and organisations responded immediately, and it was just wonderful. And that continues to happen today.
Yep.
Where local volunteers and agencies have come to the fore.
Great to hear. Nick, just before you go, what facilities are now available for those impacted by the cyclone?
Sure. So for those in Mangere and close surrounding areas, we've got the Māngere-Ōtāhuhu Recreation Centre, which is here at Mascot Ave, which is a 24-hour civil defence centre. There's also been other centres that have been put in place over the last 48 hours, which also includes a site in Ōtāhuhu, Mangere-Ōtāhuhu and Papakura. And again, if people need to have access to other sites, you will find it on the Auckland Emergency Management website and their social media forums.
Tauanu'u, Nanai, Nick Bakulich from the Civil Defence Centre, head of the Māngere-Ōtāhuhu local board. Thank you so much for your time today, and all the best with continuing to support your local community. Ngā mihi.
Ngā mihi.